There are ruthless truths, and if you have the courage to face them, you become dangerous in a way that manipulators can no longer touch you. We were raised on a pretty story. The world is fair, people are kind, hard work always pays, nice but life whispers otherwise. The game isn't fair, not everyone plays clean, and effort without clarity bleeds you dry. Marcus Aurelius reminds us you have power over your mind, not outside events. Own the mind, win the day. When you master your mind, you rise above 90% of the crowd today. 8 ruthless lessons to make you dangerously smart in the best way, seeing through appearances, hard to manipulate, decisive under pressure. And lesson 6 will change how you judge every relationship in your life. What is dangerous intelligence? Ordinary intelligence helps you solve problems. Dangerous intelligence helps you see them before they crash into you. It is not the art of manipulating others, but the ruthless discipline of cutting through your own illusions. The Stoics called it training the mind to see clearly, to think rightly, to act justly, even in the middle of chaos. Are you ready? Let's begin. Lesson 1. Emotions. Lesson 1. Emotions drive. Logic rides, shotgun drive. Logic rides, shotgun. Most decisions are not born in logic. They are triggered by emotion, then dressed up with logic afterward. The reasoning we give, often nothing more than the press release written after the deal is already done. I once worked with a student in Austin. He swore he bought an expensive gym package because of the science, the trainers, the cut-ins program. It sounded rational, but dig deeper and the truth surfaced. He had just gone through a divorce. What he really wanted wasn't a workout plan. It was a place where he could feel seen, connected, less alone. The spreadsheets and schedules were just camouflage. You'll see this everywhere online. Debates rarely turn on facts. They turn on ego, on identity, on people clinging to a sense of who they are. In the office, colleagues may resist a new process not because it is inefficient, but because deep down they're asking, will this make me irrelevant? The Stoics warned us. People are rarely fighting about the thing on the surface. They are fighting for their pride, their place, their need to feel safe. So here is the drill when you feel the rush rising inside. You stop, ask, what am I really feeling? Anger, fear, the hunger to be recognized, and then ask the harder question, what rash decision will I regret tomorrow? And when others flare up, don't attack their logic. Speak to the emotion first. I see why this matters to you. Acknowledge the fear before inviting them into reason. That is dangerous intelligence, the ability to read the emotion underneath yours and theirs, the power to prevent the fire before it burns down the room. Lesson 2, everyone acts in self-interest too. Everyone acts in their own interest. This is not cynicism. This is reality. And once you see it, your disappointment in people evaporates. We like to believe in pure altruism. We want to think our neighbor bakes cookies because she simply loves giving, or that a colleague volunteers for extra work because they care about the team. But beneath the surface, there is always self-interest. Sometimes noble, sometimes selfish, but always there. I remember a woman in my community who seemed endlessly generous. She organized events, remembered everyone's names always, showed up with a smile. People praised her selflessness, but later I learned she was preparing for a run at city council. Every kind gesture, it was also a campaign strategy. The warmth was real, but so was the ambition, and here is the shift. Once I understood her motives, I stopped feeling tricked. I respected her more because she was smart enough to align her own goals with service to others. That is the Stoic lesson. Self-interest is not evil, it is human nature. Marcus Aurelius himself admitted that even his service to Rome was also service to his own sense of duty and honor. Seneca warned us, expecting people to act against their interests is like fighting gravity, pointless. So what do? We stop asking, why are they so selfish? Instead, we ask, what do they really want here? And then we align, we find the overlap. We build agreements where both sides benefit instead of demanding sacrifices that can't last. This is dangerous intelligence, seeing the hidden currents of motivation, understanding that every request, every smile, every offer carries a purpose. And when you see it clearly, you can work with reality, not against it. Lesson 3. Most people can't handle the truth about themselves, can't handle the truth about themselves. This one cuts deep because the harshest mirror is not the one we hold up to others. It is the one we hold up to ourselves. Most people avoid that mirror. They build stories, excuses, elaborate defenses, anything to protect the fragile image they've constructed. And that is why they stay stuck in the same mistakes, the same cycles year after year. I had a friend who constantly complained about being overlooked at work. Every time he blamed politics, unfair managers, or bad luck. But when I pointed out his lateness, his missed deadlines, his constant clashes with the team, he snapped back, "You don't understand the situation." His mind wasn't seeking truth, it was seeking protection. The Stoics called this self-deception, a kind of slavery, because if you can't see your own part in the problem, you'll never hold the power to change it. Marcus Aurelius wrote endlessly about this, questioning his motives, confronting his flaws, disciplining his ego. Why? Because truth, however painful, is the only ground solid enough to build on. So here's the test. Ask yourself, what truth am I avoiding? What feedback do I dismiss too quickly? Where am I deceiving myself? Because the reality is uncomfortable. These are brutal questions, but they set you free. Most people surround themselves with yes-men, with echoes of their own illusions, but the dangerous mind seeks the opposite. It seeks the piercing voice that says, "You are wrong here, fix it." That is strength, because when you can face your own flaws without flinching, you become untouchable. While others are trapped in their comforting lies, you are already lesson 4, success creates enemies evolving. Lesson 4, your success will make some people hate you. Strange, isn't it? You work hard, you rise higher, you finally win. And instead of applause, you feel the sting of resentment. Why? Because your success is a mirror. It reflects back to others what they could be but chose not to become, and not everyone can face that reflection. I saw this with a college friend who built a thriving business from nothing. When he struggled, everyone was kind, supportive, encouraging, but the moment his company was featured in a magazine, the tone changed. Jokes about how money must have gone to his head, rumors about how he just got lucky. People who once celebrated him began sharpening knives behind his back. Here is the truth: he hadn't changed. What changed was how his success exposed the excuses of others. Instead of being inspired, they felt threatened, and envy disguised itself as criticism. Marcus Aurelius knew this well. Even as emperor, he was surrounded by gossip, betrayal, and envy. His reminder was simple: very little is needed for a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking. In other words, their poison is their burden, not yours. So when envy comes, don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't dim your light just because it hurts their eyes. Stand firm, keep building, let your work speak louder than their bitterness. This is dangerous intelligence, expecting resistance as the price of growth, knowing that success will test not just your skills, but your circle. And when the whispers come, you'll recognize them for what they are, not a reflection of you, but a revelation of them. Lesson 5. Lesson 5, everyone is selling you something. Everyone is selling you something. Once you see this, you'll never see people the same way again. Every interaction is an influence attempt. Every smile, every story, every gesture. It is a bid to get you to do, think, or feel something. Sometimes obvious, sometimes subtle. But it is always there. I once met an old acquaintance for coffee. At first, it felt warm, nostalgic. Two friends catching up. She asked about my work, my family, even remembered details from years ago. I thought, this is genuine. Then halfway through the reveal, she had joined a business opportunity, and suddenly all the friendliness was the sales pitch. The friendship was just the packaging. The real product was my wallet. And no, she wasn't evil. She honestly believed she was helping. But that is the point. Influence wears many masks, sometimes kindness, sometimes urgency, sometimes guilt. Marcus Aurelius knew this well, surrounded by generals, advisors, and politicians, each one pushing their own agenda. He trained himself to see through the pitch, to hear not just the words, but the motive beneath the words. That is your shield. Don't assume everyone is manipulative. Assume everyone has an interest. And once you ask, what do they really want here? You stop being a passive buyer in the marketplace of influence. You become a conscious chooser. Your coworkers' compliment may be genuine, but may be leverage for support at the next meeting. Your neighbor's cookies may be kindness, but may be a future favor. It is not paranoia. It is clarity. This is dangerous intelligence, refusing to be lulled by surface appearances, choosing with awareness, deciding on your terms, not theirs. When you see the hidden sales pitch behind every interaction, you stop being sold and start living by choice. Lesson 6, people reveal who they are. Believe them. Lesson 6, when people show you who they are, believe them. This lesson will save you years of wasted trust. People reveal themselves all the time in the small details, in how they treat waiters, in whether they keep small promises, in the jokes they tell when they think no one important is listening. The signs are always there. What is missing is our willingness to see them. I once worked with a business partner who loved to exaggerate his role in meetings. At first, I brushed it off. Then came the padded expense reports, little things, small numbers. Again, I made excuses. He is just excited. Everyone fudges receipts. But years later, when I discovered he'd been negotiating behind my back to cut me out of the company, I realized the truth had been on display the whole time. I just didn't want to believe it. Maya Angelou said it best: when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. The Stoics lived by this. Marcus Aurelius judged not by speeches or isolated acts, but by consistent patterns. Seneca warned us, hoping someone will change their core nature is a losing bet. So Here is the rule. Trust patterns, not promises, actions, not words, consistency, not explanations. If someone gossips about others, they'll gossip about you. If they break small commitments, they'll break big ones. If they show disrespect when it costs them nothing, they will show betrayal when the stakes are high. This is dangerous intelligence, refusing to rewrite the story in your head to protect your feelings, taking people at the evidence of their behavior. And when the evidence is clear, you adjust your boundaries, not their excuses. See the pattern? Believe it, move accordingly. Lesson 7, comfort is the enemy of growth. Lesson 7, comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort feels safe, it feels warm, it whispers, stay here, you've made it. But in truth, comfort is a cage, a soft prison that robs you of strength long before you realize it. I once knew a brilliant software engineer, great pay, flexible hours, work that came easy. For 3 years, he was living the dream, but slowly his edge dulled. New technologies overwhelmed him. Conversations that once excited him now felt heavy. He hadn't failed, he had decayed, not from hardship, but from ease. Then came the layoff, and suddenly the security he trusted was gone. The comfort that once felt like a blessing revealed itself as a trap. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius could have drowned in luxury, yet he chose campaigns, challenges, the grind of leadership. Seneca practiced voluntary discomfort, sleeping on the floor, eating simple meals because he knew if you only accept ease, you will collapse when hardship arrives. So how do we fight back? We choose difficulty on purpose, speak up when silence is safer. Learn the skill that intimidates you, train the body when the couch is calling. Every time you push into discomfort, you sharpen your blade. Here is the paradox. Comfort kills more dreams than failure ever will, because failure at least teaches. Comfort teaches nothing except how to stay the same. Dangerous intelligence means spotting this trap early. It means asking, where am I choosing safety over growth? What am I avoiding because it feels hard? And then stepping straight toward it. Because while most people are lulled to sleep by comfort, you will be awake, alive, and rising. Lesson 8. Lesson 8. Remember death, and live fully you are going to die, and most of your worries mean nothing. This is the final lesson. The most ruthless and the most liberating death is not a possibility. It is the only certainty. And when you remember this, most of the noise that drains your energy vanishes. I watched this truth unfold in a man I admired. Before his diagnosis, he obsessed over office politics, neighborhood gossip, whether his lawn looked perfect compared to the neighbors. He fought battles that meant nothing, but once cancer forced him to face the clock, everything shifted. He stopped caring about approval. He ended hollow relationships. He gave his time only to what brought joy, love, and meaning. Ironically, he became freer, happier, more alive, even as his days grew short. The Stoics called this memento mori, remember death, not to be morbid, but to focus. Marcus Aurelius wrote, it is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. Seneca warned that wasting time is the one crime that cannot be repaid. So ask yourself, if I had 1 year left, would this matter? Would I still waste hours arguing online? Would I still chase the approval of strangers? Or would I finally speak the words I've been holding back, finally build what I've been postponing, finally live not tomorrow but now? This is dangerous intelligence, cutting away the trivial, investing only in what will matter at the end. While others drown in meaningless anxiety, you walk clear-eyed, unburdened, alive, because the truth is brutal. You will die. But within that truth lies your freedom. When nothing is guaranteed, everything important becomes urgent. And that urgency is the beginning of a life fully lived. Conclusion. 8 ruthless lessons. Each one a blade that cuts away illusion. If you've stayed with me this far, you already carry more clarity than most. Now the question is, will you practice it? Will you choose truth over comfort, discipline over distraction, growth over illusion? If this journey speaks to you, share it, like it, subscribe. So these reminders find you when you need them most, and leave just 3 words in the comments. I choose clarity. Let that be your public vow that from today forward you will see through the fog and live awake.